Good afternoon. Can we have the house in order so that we can start proceedings? Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say welcome to this August gathering called by the Secondary School Sports Association. Without further ado, I will want us to start traditionally in every gathering. We start with opening prayers. We start this event with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and moving to end it with Alhamdulillah. Let's have the prayers in our individual displays. Welcome to you all once again to this August gathering. My name is Babu Kasi. I will be chairing this meeting as the media officer of Secondary School Sports Association. We are called upon this afternoon, members of the press, by the Secondary School Sports Association in a two-in-one event. The first one is a donation, a kind gesture coming from our family members, I will call them. These are former athletes, I'm not sure if I would like to call them veterans, who thought it wise to support grassroots sports and athletics to be precise. The other event is the preparation ahead of the 2022 Interschools National Athletics Championship, which is built for the 11th, 12th, and 13th time, which is just next weekend. And as I said earlier, our former athletes, Gambians for that matter, thought it wise to support grassroots sports, athletics to be precise. And these are athletes, some of whom are in the country, some are outside. So it's necessary to come together and put up something in order to support school sports or athletics. And we said, we cannot receive this donation in a better forum, in a better gathering than this, so that the world will know that yes, they have left. Maybe due to age and physique, but their mind, mental, and everything is, with us, and they want to see young athletes do better than what they did for the country. And I'm talking about, of course, champions that have represented the Gambia in different levels of athletics. Without further ado, we've started a bit late. I just want us to go into that ceremony quickly, and first of all, call on the donors to say one or two words. Perhaps they are in a better position to explain to us why they took it wise to come up with this idea to support grassroots sports and athletics to be precise. And first of all, call on Mr. Modu Drame, known to many in the country as Soap. Tell us the reason why it's called Soap. A former athlete, one of the best 800 meters in his time, to say a few words as to why they came up with this idea before we move to other speakers from these ex-athletes. Thank you very much once again for coming. So let's give you the floor. So the cameras will have to switch. You come here.
We have to buy a camera. That's a donation. Alright, good afternoon everybody. Good evening and good morning to people, my brothers and sisters abroad. My name is Modu Lamin Drame. He used to be known as So, but Lamin Drame, most people know about Lamin Drame. So, I'm not going to go into further details about why So. But so it's more like, all of they say Hajan or whatever. I was a type of athlete. Yeah, but it was more like my confidence and my energy. A lot of athletes couldn't take it and the race would be over before it started. So that was my energy. But Alhamdulillah, I thank God first of all, and I welcome everybody. I have seen my uncles and my mentor over here. This man on my right, Usman Sam, is the one who gave me the platform, the opportunity. Usually, I don't know whether it still exists in the Gambia, whereby you are known as an athlete from the primary school level, lower basic level, whereby you go into senior secondary school, you call it secondary school or high schools. Then, I was never known from primary school, never had the opportunity. I knew I was good, and I was never given the opportunity to prove myself that I was a good athlete. So, I had to do whatever I had to do to make sure that I have that opportunity to go to St. Augustine's High School, okay? And I never gave up on my dream to become an athlete. I remember even sitting the common entrance for the second time, or the third time, maybe, I don't know how many times, just to make that cutoff mark from primary school. What is the exam? Common entrance. To make that cutoff mark to go to St. Augustine's, because St. Augustine's cutoff mark was always high. I can go to Muslim, I'm sorry. I could have gone to other high schools, but I chose St. Augustine's. I knew if I get there, I'll make it to where I needed to. Finally, I got to St. Augustine's. Now, how do I prove myself? It's through Interhouse. How do I prove myself with Interhouse when there is already the best athlete in my house? I had to call them out. Then the soap came out. I had to call the guy out in the middle of the school. This man said to me, Sumara, I told you we already have an athlete for this group. Go find another event. I said, no, I want to be given the opportunity. Let's have a time trial like right now. He said, okay, I'll call your bluff. Let's go have a time trial. Went to the field behind. I was in my uniform. That was the end of my story. I blew everybody out. Everybody was like, where did he come from? Where did he come from? So, with that opportunity, maybe a lot of athletes may not have that. I never had spikes. I barely had sports shoes. I barely had this opportunity whereby a donation will be made to say we're going to have medals or certificates to give it to the winners, or to even encourage somebody saying that there is availability of medals if you win. I think back then inter-schools, if you win, you win. That's it. That was not even given to you. Certificates were given up. I can't remember where my certificates are in there. But, so we have a group, we do have a group right now in the diaspora. That group was created by Mr. Ali Chan. I don't know if you all know Ali Chan. Ali Chan came up with the idea that he found it very fitting to create a group to call it former athletes of the Gambia, so that the little that we can contribute. I guess a lot of people did not believe in contributing at that point to say, oh, believing that the Gambians would appreciate this at home. So this is an opportunity where we can show the Gambians abroad, the former athletes, even those who were not athletes, to contribute and help the grassroots, which is the senior secondary school. This is like a threshold. This is whereby the springboard for us to find our future Gambian superstars. This is where they come from, I believe, right? This is where we're gonna scout and find them. What can we do as former athletes? We're not buying them spikes or track shoes or sports shoes, but the little that we can come up with as an initiative. We just started this like a couple of months ago, and we're able to come up with some little bit of amount of money. I cannot tell you how much is it exactly, because they came from different parts of the world. I personally, I brought the one from, I guess, America, and she came with the one from Spain, Europe, and he came with the one that he collected here in the Gambia on behalf of other athletes abroad. So, Mr. Boone, I don't know how much money is there altogether, but I know I brought $900 with me, cash. It's not even changed into dollars this year. And I will put it under my pillow every day when I go to sleep to make sure that this money is handed over. It's not that much, but we wanted to make sure that we come here today, we hand over this money so that you all can utilize this money to the little that we can afford to buy or contribute towards what you have already to get them towards the certificate. That's $900. And this is €50. And
this is $14,514.
Exactly. 14,513. So these are the monies, $900, €50, and the 14,000 right here. So I will hand this over to the president, and we're praying for more, and we hope that this will be an example that there is more to be done, that we shouldn't only rely on governments to say sports is not owned by the government. By the way, it's the people, it's us who develop sports. And we are ambassadors, whatever capacity you are an ambassador of the Gambia, as long as you represent Gambia anywhere, whether here or abroad, you're an ambassador. So Mr. President, we are praying that more Gambians abroad, at home, will contribute towards the secondary school sports for the development of our future superstars. So good luck with that.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. You could see that soul in him still.
I'm an old man.
Thank you very much. This is the maiden edition of this Ex-Athletes coming up with such package, and we just want to say thank you for this gesture. Thank you for thinking about the young ones that are coming up. Thank you for preparing the young ones to be better than what you need for the country. And this is how it starts. And we hope that come next year or the years coming, we'll continue receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars from you towards supporting these young athletes. What I will do now is to allow Mr. Sabari to say one or two words. They are because our veterans that have prepared some of these athletes that we are seeing today. And they've contributed immensely towards the sports development of the country in one way or the other. So Sabari, as always.
Thank you for giving me the floor. Good afternoon, everybody else. Members of the Federation, in the first place, journalists, all other protocols. I wasn't told to come and speak today, so it's sort of like an impromptu speech. But once a teacher, you can always have something to say. My name is Mr. Osman Sabari. They call me different names, Sabs, you name it. I just say that. Lami was a student at the school, of course, and he has just spoke about everything that has happened to him, also being in the school, etc. For me, I wouldn't have much to say, but just to give you small advices about how to run your federation. We were members of the federation in the days that we were teaching. I was the games teacher at St. Augustine High School. Of course, I rose up to the level of vice principal in those days. But because St. Augustine is a Catholic school, we named it. So I decided to quit when my voluntary retirement came. So I stopped teaching a long time ago and decided to take care of my children. But secondary school sports is one of the most important organizations in the country, because you are the people responsible for bringing up, as you said, the athletes. And what you do is like bring them up to a level where they can be exposed so that they can achieve further, they can be developed to achieve further successes. For instance, like what we used to do is we had different categories of coaching or sports competitions. For instance, we don't stop only on in track and field, but we also organize volleyball, basketball, football, etc. So I assume you can do that, if you have the type of program that we used to have. I was the technical director of the federation in those days, and Mr. Cham was the secretary for the federation. Then Mr. Abraham was the president, Mr. James Abraham, may his soul rest in peace. I was contacted by Mr. Cham earlier, and he explained what these people were trying to do to help the federation, in the sense that they can contribute monies or other items that they can do, like jerseys, etc., or as we said, track shoes or whatever, to send to the federation. But this time around, they couldn't do much because of the time frame. So they decided just to collect money and just give it to you. But their intention is to do something more grander. For example, doing medals and stuff like that, which can be more useful than, giving you money, etc. So for that, purpose, I think, they're thinking very well in terms of helping the federation. That's what I think. So, not to waste more time, I think, that's what I have to say. That's about what I have to say. And Mr. Bunjai is here, of course. Maybe he has something to say, because I wasn't prepared to say anything, coming here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabali, for those kind words. And you are very right when you say this is the most important sporting association in the country. And I'm also glad and will not be shy to say this is the only sporting association that does its activities nationwide, from Basse to Koina, Katong to wherever you are back on, as well as it's in the Gambia. We reach out to everywhere. The championship that we are about to witness this weekend, started from somewhere. Coming down to the Commons. Now we have identified the best talents nationwide who will be coming to compete in the final. So if you're investing your money in school sports, you're investing it in the right place. Thank you so much, Mr. Sabali, once again. Without further ado, as I said, this is a 2-in-1 program. I will now call on Mr. Ismail Asise, the president of Secondary School Sports Association, who just received this notice. I'm not sure if we're going to use it to party later or we're going to invest in the schools within their needs, but to accept it and say some few words before we move to the next. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I want to first of all begin by thanking Mara for a dream comes true. This is what I've been echoing all throughout my interviews since we started the championship. Even during the past years, I used to echo the same feelings that secondary school sports needs to be supported. And I'm happy today that in our midst we have the former athletes and coaches and people who almost contributed in laying the foundation stone of this very association who called for a press conference today. Mr. Sabali, Mr. Bunjai, and so that Mr. Drame, and any other person who belongs to that group. You are all very, 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 very most welcome to Secondary School Sports Association. We thank you so much for this wonderful donation. The money given will go a long way in helping us to galvanize our championship 2022 edition. We've already put plans ahead of the presentation ceremony before we actually receive the money. We have already put plans on the table that the money will be used to buy some wonderful medals for athletes who win events, first, second, and third position, bronze, silver, and gold. We've made arrangements already in Senegal, and the medals from today by tomorrow we will try to transfer the money to Senegal so that at least the medals will be here before the starting of the championship. I want to pay homage to Mr. Alucham. He was the chairman of competition for this very association. He is the one that usually arbitrates whenever there are issues, because he's the one appointed by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to take charge of such issues, because all of us, from the president, the vice president, all the other executive members, we all came from school, but Alucham did not come from school. So therefore, he's in a better position to arbitrate between schools whenever there are issues. Since his departure, we've been communicating. He has been calling every time he can have from the association, all the time speaking to us, telling us his plans, that when he arrived in America, what he plans to do. And of course, he has manifested the promise that he will make sure he reached out to the ex-athletes by bringing them together for them to contribute, to see what they can do for the association. We have been all the time crying for support from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. They are doing their part. Ministry of Youth and Sports, the GAA, the National Sports Council, and the GNOC, and any other private body or individual. We have been asking them all the time that if you value Gambian sports and you want Gambian sports to be developed, to reach to a different level, then please venture or spend in secondary school sports, because that is the foundation. When the foundation is good, then we can all go back home and sleep. Gambian sports will reach to a different level. But as long as the foundation has an issue, it is always going to be difficult. And we need to have that systematic way of transiting athletes from the school system then to the national level. But the Gambia, the structure in the country has some little bit of problem which needs to be fixed. So the ex-athletes and the coaches, I want to say a big thank you to you. I don't want to preempt the vote of thanks, but no, that's not my area. That's not my area. But I'm just on behalf of the executive, the national executive of the school sports. Honestly, we are very much grateful since we got this news. And Mr. Bunjai has been on me throughout, calling, texting, calling, because I ever known him to be a very, very agile personality. And no wonder when he called me all the time, if I see his call, I say, let me refer him to Jamie so that he can be calling Jamie, because I know him. If he wants this, he must go for that. It's the same way. So your contribution towards secondary school sports definitely is immeasurable. And your colleagues out there, I know some of them will be watching live, especially those who are on streaming live. We want to say a big thank you to all of them. So once again, thank you so much for the contribution. And the money definitely will help these athletes who are yearning to become the likes of Usain Bolt and the Gina Bars, that the Gambia produces, and the old ones that I cannot remember. They want to become like those ones. Huh? Yes, exactly. So we thank you all, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President. To wrap up the donation, we will call on former athlete and coach, Ma'am Kile Sise, who will say a few words on behalf of
Hello, good afternoon to you all. My name is Ma'am Kile Sise, a Gambian by birth, a former athlete that represented the Gambia, the first female with a degree in physical education and sport. I have been with the GAA. I went to school for so many years. And I'm back again with GAA. I am part and parcel of this association formed by Mr. Sham, and then part and parcel of Gambia's school sport, secondary school sport. The president was saying about the foundation from the secondary school sport. The foundation starts from primary school sports. That's where you will see the kids, the talented ones. That's where we can nurture techniques that could go a long way to the senior secondary school and going all the way to the national team. So we need to work with the primary school association as well. That's where we start our foundation from primary 6, from primary 1 all the way to grade 12. The reason why Europe sport is developing, we start from age 6 years. That's where when we nurture kids, from that age then you see them changing coaches, and then all the way until they reach their final stage. Well, I'm standing here today representing both the former athletes and then the school sport. To say a big thanks to the former athletes, including myself and the like. And this is just a start. And we're really looking for more. The school sport really is going to do something with this, and the kids will be happy seeing that medals we are giving to them. In our time, we were giving certificates. Unless and until we represent the Gambia into some competition, then medals come in. But we normally have certificates that we are issued. And this time, I guess certificates will be issued or not. Only medals? We will combine together. Kids will be happy and motivation will come more. And we're here, and my coach mate is here as well, Maria Masala. She's my sister, my big sister. We have been in the area together, walking. And I'm glad that I'm back again to be with her again and to be with school sport, to develop grassroots sport all the way over there to the higher heights. Thank you once more, former athletes of the Gambia. The way you want the grassroots sport to be developed, since we are part of it, we really work hard.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you so much, Mr. Drame, Mr. Bunjai, and Mr. Sabali. And as Sarah had mentioned, getting those present here today, we have our national team coach, Madam Sarah, who is with us, and really having the eagle eyes watching these young talents, and trying to bring them to the next level. Thank you so much, Mr. Coming. At this juncture, I'll allow the former athletes, perhaps, let's even continue to know what we have. That's fine. That's fine. I'll just allow them. You can watch it now. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming once again. Jamina, you can come take this. We can continue. We are set to host one of the biggest national championships this coming weekend. And after conducting the heats, as I rightly said, there are certain ingredients that are added or subtracted. And the executive is here to update the public, particularly the schools, ahead of the finals this weekend. First of all, allow Mr. Jamin, the Secretary of the School Sports Association, to narrate on the hits that we have done nationwide before we go into suspensions and expressions of destiny. Mr. Jamin, the floor is yours.
I am a German Secretary General of the Secondary School Sports Association. We started our hits in Pasay as a tradition. Before we have our national championship, we start with the regional hits, and then we have designed to zone the whole country into 4 zones or 4 regions. We have URR and CRR combined together. They have Pasay zone. We have Farafenni zone where we have the North Bank and LRR combined together. Brikama, all the schools within the schools convert at that place. And KM, that's Banjul, and then KM municipality schools within that area also convert at that time. So we started at Pasay, like I said, and then we started very well. For the first time, we have seen the number of schools that asked to participate has increased. The fanfare equally has increased. The attendance of the fans in general equally have increased. We have 22 senior secondary schools and 7 upper basic schools, in a total of 29 schools combined together that competed in Pasay zones. It lasted for 3 days, and we have seen an amazing talent exhibited by the provincial people. In the past, it used to be dominant by few schools like St. George's and that of Bansang, times Amitate and Tekamaba. But things are gradually changing in Pasay. Almost every school, out of 22 senior secondary schools, only 2 schools missed to have a qualifier in the national championship for the first time. Almost every school will have at least a representative in the national championship. It is a remarkable performance and then a big improvement, showing that everybody is making an effort to make a mark when it comes to the national championship. Farafenni will never surprise us. They have been very outstanding when it comes to their performance, and also the number of schools have equally increased, 22 senior and then 11 upper basic patrol in Farafenni zone, 25 in total. We have seen a shift in terms of record holders. It used to be a South Senior Secondary School that used to be dominant. In fact, they will almost take all the qualifiers. Out of 43 qualifiers that we contested, so we used to have about 40 qualifiers, at least 39 qualifiers. And force is always there for SL. But this time it has changed completely. And we have seen St. Mike taking over from SL. Not only that, even Farafenni equally beating SL and moving SL to 3rd place. The traditional schools that used to patrol with SL, Tahir comes 4th position with a very minimal qualifiers. So you can see that state place also have changed automatically in terms of the performance of the schools there. Every school is coming up with a very good performance, with very good talented athletes trying to make a name for themselves. The traditional holders of the upper basic champions is Bara Ezo. They still never surprise and they still maintain with a very high amount of qualifiers. You have Brikama zone, which is the largest zone. We have 44 schools in total that came to participate, 26 senior secondary schools, and then 18 upper basic schools. And due to the large number of schools that comes in Brikama competition, we decided to increase their days. It used to be 4 days, and we increased it to 5 days. Even with that 5 days, we would have to struggle to finish because the number of schools that came was very large. But the competition went very well from the first day up to the last day. And then we have seen a remarkable performance from almost all the schools, particularly the senior category. where the likes of Bottrop and Mahad and others who used to take the number of almost maximum qualifiers, for the national championship is gradually changing. In fact, it has changed. The maximum that Bottrop could have was 27 qualifiers. Mahad could have about 16 qualifiers, when they used to have about 40-something qualifiers, 30-something qualifiers. So that shows that Brikama also is also another battleground that is open for all schools within that area to at least get a representative in the national championship. We have seen within Brikama, the school that is at the top is still Presentation. They are still at the top, and then followed by schools like Jamanjeli, and then even the newcomers, Jambur and others, are also coming up. So we are expecting to see a very nice finals, when those champions from the regions come to, rub their shoulders in the national championship. We have also we had our last regional hits at KM, where 29 schools were there in total, and it also went very well. And equally, another surprise happens in KM. In the past, it used to be Gambia High, St. Augustine, Muslims. That has been the traditional, schools that are known for school sport. When you mention school sport, you only mention those names. But gradually, they're becoming a ghost name now, because your competition will even come up to the end. You hardly see them competing with the others to a level that can even make you to count them. Because new schools are coming, and they have almost taken over the mantle of the leadership as far as the region is concerned. We have seen the newcomers, Scanate International, coming for the first time from all the way from Bruford, coming and then make a bigger surprise ever, coming with first position, with a very good number of qualifiers. You also have the likes of Pakote coming up with a very respectable performance. They came up with a second position. Newsrat, that used to be education only, but today is making a difference. They can do both as their slogans spelled out. And then they came out third position with 15 qualifiers. So we are expecting from that end to be another very stiff competition during the national championship. And the upper basic, it used to be the traditional, Bakote, but when Bakote moved, Ratikunda Sabiji, that's commonly known as plazas, took over and still maintaining, their authority over KMC as the champions of that region. And they came up with first position with a very high number of qualifiers. So far so good. This is the qualifiers, and then we are very much happy that it went very well. And then the attendance level was very good. The level of comportment, the discipline level from the schools was very high. And then even their dress code, we have seen a lot of improvement. So we are very much grateful and thankful to the principal for dressing up their athletes to come up and then participate in a very colorful manner. We are expecting over 100 schools in total, both upper basic, and senior secondary school. Although total 135 schools competed for the national championship countrywide. But out of that 135, we are expecting over 102 schools or more that will come to the national championship because others could not make even a single qualifiers. But we have seen that this has increased. In the past, it used to be around 75 schools that will come to the national championship, but this time around, we are expecting to see at least 100 schools that will have a representative in the national championship. So far so good. This is the regional qualifiers, and now we are ready for the national championship, which is slated for on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that is 11, 12, and 13th March 2022. And we promise you that it's going to be another spectacular national championship, because we are always trying to model our competition to an international standard. In the past, our last championship, we have seen how colorful it was, how organized it was. And this time around, the national organizers and the executive are working tirelessly to model it better, to even come with another style, far different from the last time, just like the international, where the athletes will only come in and run, and they will be called upon, and ushered right inside without even the basket girl accompanying them. They run and then go back without being, even spending even a few minutes after their events. So because that's how the internationally it is done, and we are also modeling ourselves. We should not underrate ourselves as a country. We have potentials, both athletes and then the organizers. So you have to use our minds, our brains, and everything. With our little resources, we want to make sure that school sport be a pride of this country. both nationally and internationally. This is our aim, and we promise you that come 11, 12, and 13 is going to be another spectacular finals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Jame. Well said. And I think the takeaway home is we used to have 60, 70, and for the first time, we have reached the 100 mark. 100 schools will gather for a 3-day national championship for the first time. And I think that's a plus, an improvement. You know, and remember, this is where the Adama James and Ginas are hail from. So we'll be creating more Ginas, more Adamas come this weekend. That is the sort. But the disappointing part of it is school sports is still moving without sponsors. We don't have sponsors. Ismail Ajami is the president of school sports. Tell us more.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Islamin Jame. MCC. All right. Thank you. First of all, let me welcome all of you from the first part of today's activity. I want to say a big thank you to our press. They have been following us ever since, from the regional.
It's also a record turnout of the press, isn't
Yeah. Since the upper regions, since the beginning of the championship, the press have been with us, and they have always been with us. Anytime our championship is around, they always come over to patronize us, to give us the airtime, the kind of publicity that we needed. And look at it, the turnout for today's press conference. I'm really, really very much grateful that this number of media houses were able to turn out to come and witness today's event. From the Secretary General's statements, we registered quite a number of schools that took part in the championship this year. But when you look at Secondary School Sports Association, this is an association, as the chairman of occasion mentioned or stated, that it's an association without a support. We don't have a sponsor from, let's say, a particular sponsor that will take care of the competition, let's say athletic championship or volleyball or basketball. Athletics, it used to be the trust banks, the likes of Trust Bank, but since that contract finishes, there has never been any sponsor for athletics. Then the likes of the GTU, CCU came in to sponsor the cash prizes for the finals. And then, of course, our line ministry, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, who used to give us, sort of a subvention, every year. They give us an amount that will, help us to survive. Usually, we spend a lot of money from the beginning of the championship, that is the regional hits, to the finals. We nearly spend over $2 million every year in order to at least have this kind of championship that we want. In fact, if we get a better sponsor, we will go beyond the type of organization that people used to see when it comes to athletic championship. And I know everyone in this country loves to witness athletics. And these are talents that are coming from schools. And the reason of staging this championship is for the bigger bodies to at least be able to scout raw talents from the schools that will represent the Gambia at any level. Because it is the biggest grassroots sport development body in this country. So therefore, school sports deserve a sponsor or a support. So those who are doing it, like the likes of GTUCCU, we say a big thank you to them for actually giving us or lifting up to us to another level. This year's championship has taken a different trajectory, in the sense that school sports has been suffering for some time as a result of cheating, the level of cheating in school sports, secondary school sports. We have always been fighting against that. We always want to make sure that schools refrain from filing athletes that are not qualified to participate in the championship. In the past, you'll see an athlete running for a school who has graduated 5, 6, 7 years ago. When we took over, we amended the constitution, we amended the competition rules in order to at least try to avoid, or minimize cheating in the competition. If your time elapses, we say a big thank you to you. Go and participate in the trials. The likes of Mariama Salah and other coaches, Mam Keva and so on, they are around. They usually call for trials, and then you can go and participate, and then maybe you will be lucky to be chosen as one of the athletes that will represent the country. But those who are in the school system, the age matters a lot to us. Being in football, being in athletics, because we don't want to always accept or allow athletes to participate who are 20, 23, 24, 25 years of age. We only want athletes from the upper basic, they should be under 15. The senior secondary school, we expect the under 17s to be there. So that the Gambia, the GFF, the likes of GFF, can always be able to scout under 17 footballers from the schools. But if we allow people who graduated 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 years ago, or those who are not even going to school, the likes of messengers, the apprentices, the carpenters and so on, or even some teachers who are in this system, if we allow them to come and participate in the competition, then we are not fair to the young ones that are trying to shine, that are trying to make athletics as a living. Because some group of people out there are, almost blocking their opportunity for them to rise. This is why this year we try to come up with a very tough stance against any form of cheating. When you look at football, when we play our championship, honestly, it is going to be always very, very difficult for the federation to be able to scout under 17 players from the schools. Because you see divisional players playing for upper basic, first division players playing for senior secondary school. The last championship we staged in Jarasoma was a terrible experience. Athletes came from anywhere, footballers. They came from anywhere. Whosoever think that this one is fit to play or can play, is an R9 or R7 or whatsoever, let me join the person into my team. And it's not helping us, because it will create problem for those coaches who want to identify talents for the national team. Remember, the Gambia has suffered twice due to overage, filing overage athletes, age cheating. We have been, how to call it? We have been warned twice or found wanting. So we don't want it to happen for the third time. And how can we avoid that? We can only do it through applying measures, strict measures, and making sure that anyone who files in an illegible athlete, that person will be penalized at the end of the day. We are not favoring any school. We are not going to look into the eyes of anyone, whether it is me that concerns, or my school, or Jame school, or Kebe, or any other person. All of them will be penalized. We mean business. Any school that cheats, unless and until we don't have full knowledge of the athletes that you file, that you registered. But so long we get the information, even after championship, we'll follow it up. We'll follow it up, and then if we dress you as the winner, we will undress you later on. We'll call for a press conference and undress that particular school. We want PE teachers, anyone out there, to make sure they bring in athletes that are registered students of their school, not people who have already graduated and keep on moving like migrant athletes from one school to the other, one school to the other. Some of them, when they reach to your school, they even hide their identity. They don't want you to know their history. Others, when we follow it up, we come up with very interesting stories regarding their background. Some of them start to grade 9,
exams in 2013. Some were registered in grade 7 in 2012 or 2011. And they're still in the system. And our rules stipulate, made it very clear that if you are in one school, grade 7 to grade 12, you are only allowed to participate for 7 years. Only 7 years. Grade 7 to grade 12 is 6 years. Then you have the opportunity of repeating the class once. But if you are in two different schools, then your upper basic school, you have the chance to repeat a class according to the education policy. And in the senior secondary school also, you have the chance to repeat a class. That means an athlete that changed school twice from upper basic, grade 7 to grade 9 in one school and grade 10 to grade 12 in another school, that athlete have the chance to participate for 8 years. And these rules were made very clear to everyone. They were very much explicit, and then we circulated the rules to everyone. And this year we added another one to the current one. And that stated that any school found cheating, that school will be banned for that particular year of competition. So that means all the schools that are found wanting this year are all going to perish for this year because they have cheated. We want schools to come up and then participate by bringing in the right athletes who are students, bona fide students of that school, who transferred through the right procedure, and then who have not sat to WAS already, because the moment you start to WAS, you are not qualified. And then I want to send this signal to all the PE teachers, wherever they might be, or you might be, make sure you learned a lesson from this year, because we will never bend and we will never relent when it comes to fighting against cheating. We have come up with a situation, or we discovered a situation where schools, unite to cover up investigations or evidence during our investigation. We have discovered that not once, not twice, not 3 times. Sometimes even the principals are even involved in cover-ups, which is very much disappointing. And sometimes I had to intervene and call those principals, principal to principal. You will not tell me, but a particular document is not available in the school. Then I will question, what are you doing in that school? Although I'm not your authority, but I will question that. And we discovered also a situation wherein, before we even reach at a particular school, some school, when they realize that we have been petitioned, where the athlete come from, they will go there and then corroborate with that particular administration in order to cover up, which is one of the worst crimes. I don't expect genuine individuals in sports who want sports to be developed to behave like that. But in as much as we are here, this executive, we have taken a tougher stance to fight against cheating. And we will continue year in, year out, until such a time when we will all leave office. But we will never be here to allow this magnitude of cheating to be going on annual basis. It is not actually done, and it's not helping sports development. So this year, we have although we have got some reports from various schools, so there were some appeals we investigated, and almost all the appeal letters that we have received, they all were positive. We investigated, and then we found them to be true on the ground. Because we went to those schools, we have been following them. Some schools will be visiting them almost 3, 4, 5 times. Since in the morning, I was in Bakote Upper and Senior Secondary School to investigate about the Binti Jallow, that is one of their fastest sprinter, that is the lady, Binti Jallow, whether she has actually outlived her time in the school system. And then also the lives of another boy who was registered by Bakote, but then they denied of registering that particular student. We have the following schools. Investigations have been completed or confirmed that yes, they have filed in an eligible athlete, and therefore those schools are going to be banned from competing this particular championship 2022. Mindao Senior Secondary School, Bottrop Senior Secondary School, Mahad Senior Secondary School, New Covenant Upper Basic School, Jamisa Upper and Senior Secondary School, Kafuta Upper and Senior Secondary School, St. Peter's Senior Secondary School, Jambur Basic Cycle School, Jambanjeli Basic Cycle or Upper and Senior, I don't know. Is it Upper and Senior? Upper Basic School. These are the schools that are confirmed. And we also have about another 8 schools that the investigations are yet to be completed before the finals. Because as long as we confirm them, those schools are also going off from the records. Those are Newsrat Senior Secondary School, Scarnet Senior Secondary School, Bakote Upper and Senior Secondary School, Nemasu Senior Secondary School, Kotu Senior Secondary School, Bansang Senior Secondary School, St. Michael Upper and Senior Secondary School, and Farafenye Senior Secondary School. These are the schools that are found wanting, but then the investigation are yet to be concluded. The first list I read are the ones whose investigation have been concluded. Yes.
And they are found guilty.
Mindao Senior Secondary School, Upper and Senior Secondary School, Bottrop Upper and Senior Secondary School, Mahad Senior Secondary School, New Covenant Upper Basic, Jamisa Upper and Senior Secondary School, Kafuta Upper and Senior Secondary School, St. Peter's Senior Secondary School, Jambur Basic Cycle School, and Jambanjeli Upper Basic School. And the ones that are in the limelight, whose investigations are yet to be completed, Newsrat Senior Secondary, Scarnet, Bakote, Nemasu, Kotu, Bansang, St. Michael, and Farafenye Senior Secondary School. These are the schools, and then of course, we are appealing to the general public, even you, the media houses, or the press offices, anyone who knows an athlete, it could be your friend, a relative, or someone whom you have covered, maybe some few years ago, and is still participating, you have seen it, you have every right to talk to us. Together, we can clean up the championship and allow only students who are in the system to participate. Together, we can do it. But us alone, the executive, it will be very, very difficult. So we are appealing to anyone out there, be it teachers, parents, or even sport lovers, spectators, anyone who knows an athlete who is not actually eligible to participate, has actually graduated from school, please report back to us. We are appealing to all of them. Report to us. And we had also experienced some issues of transfers during the course of the championship. We have experienced a situation where athletes were transferred in a very funny manner. And then the regional office intervened until that athletes, they said, yes, he's qualified to participate. We have what we call transfer window. It starts from June 1st to October 31st. Transfer window is closed. Anyone that transferred after October 31st, that particular athlete is not eligible to participate in our championship. So, any school that is found wanting of manipulating transfers, if we discover it, you are going to be penalized heavily. And this time around, our penalties are not just going to be, yes, we didn't know now, then the competition, the competition has passed, so therefore no steps will not be taken. No. We'll go beyond that. The way IOC do their sanctions, we are going to follow the same manner. So please, 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 this is what we have for you. And then for the finals on Friday and Saturday, preparations are on the high gear, and we are making some arrangements as regarding the students' lodging and also their feeding and everything, because the association feeds all the athletes that are coming in. Because I think the Secretary General forgot to tell you the number of students that we are expecting. He only reads out the number of schools, but the number of athletes, that is, if you multiply this number by maybe 900, at least almost close to 1,000 athletes that will be coming across the country. So without sponsor, feeding them, imagine that is going to be a daunting task. All right? And then also accommodation, we take care of their accommodation, we take care of their feeding, and all the officials, and then also plus some other logistical arrangements. Security also the same thing. And I want to use this medium to appeal to the Inspector General of Police, because our competitions sometimes are not given that much rating, that much respect that it deserves. Sometimes, in other regions, the number of security personnel that we receive are very, very, very small. Imagine having a stadium full to capacity, that number, you only have 15 PIU officers who cannot even control if those students go wild or if the crowd go wild. It will be very, very difficult. So I'm appealing to them to intensify security for us. Let them give us more men, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in order to at least provide us the right security. And immediately after the events also, we have some criminals out there who will be coming to the events with knives and other weapons, and they will be waiting for young girls or school children out there with their mobile phones, and then attacking them to collect their phones from them, which is very, very bad. We have written to anti-crime to also come and then beef up the security for us, so that immediately after the event, they'll be able to track some of those bad guys in the street. And then the security, the PIU, we are expecting more PIU to come so that everyone can feel safe to come and sit down and watch the event with a more peaceful mindset. So once again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our school principals out there, the parents, the school children who all partake in this particular championship. The Ministry of Education, the regional offices, and also every stakeholder that is taking part in this championship. And all right, PE Teachers Association, of course, their president is sitting here, Alassane Sy. I want to thank PE teachers on behalf of the association, Mr. Alassane Sy, and your cohorts. Thank you so much, because they are the ones who definitely always take care of these athletes. They dip their hands into their pocket, spend on their athletes, because sometimes schools don't give enough resources to prepare these athletes for championship. We have seen this year, like Jammeh said, it was colorful. Almost every school now are coming up with brand new jerseys, brand new tights, brand new warmers, spikes, and different things. In the previous days, we see football jerseys, the likes of Lionel Messi, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo. Those are the ones that we see at the back of the jerseys of the athletes. But this time around, it is different. We are seeing them with the proper outfit that an athlete is supposed to wear in order to partake very well. So, of course, our credit union, GTU-CCU, without which we find it very difficult to actually, fulfill our mandate. They did very, very well, and then this time around, they are giving us $250,000, for the cash prizes that we will be distributing within the various winners. The first, the second, both upper and senior secondary school. Immediately after the athletic championship, we'll be going in for the football, because Pan-African School Sport Championship is also coming, of which we are working hand in glove with the GFF. Our football is always supported by GFF. Of course, Pan-African School Sport Championship, GFF, together in collaboration with the Secondary School Sport Association, will be staging that championship in March. And we are just waiting for the athletic championship to be over, and we transit into that particular championship. Once again, our gallant press officers, male and female, thank you so much for coming. You always made us proud. You always advertise our program, publicize it very well. May God reward you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I will now open up the floor. You have questions to ask, because when I had him reading the schools that are suspended this year. We are all from schools, and I heard you all wow. Yeah, so some of our schools are suspended. You know what I mean? Some top schools are suspended because the one would never imagine Bottrop, being suspended for a whole championship. And I think we are setting precedents, and this should continue. Even if we should be left with 5 schools to compete, with using the right age and right athletes, we can go ahead. And if we start that, come next year, all schools, principals, PE teachers, sports masters will take note of this. Will definitely take note of this. They will not want to miss the championship, thus they'll bring in the right athletes. So and I think this is a bold decision by the executive, happening for the first time ever, and I think it's the best approach that we can use. Questions are open. Your name from Media House, and you can ask your questions.
Yes, my name is Saleh Diallo from the Capital FM.
Get closer.
Good to be with you again. You will never forget this story from Basel. Well, my concern is along the route to this independence stadium, to the finale, there were hitches here and there. And just recently, one of the athletes from a particular school participated in the quiz. And there is this transfer request from the schools, from both schools, and together with the parents, a signature. And the athlete have already made it to the final. And all of a sudden, the athlete have to be withdrawn from reaching the final. Under your capacity, what is your take on this saga for the regional director? How are you trying to analyze this situation?
Thank you so much. The transfer procedure was not very clear. All right. We allowed the said athlete to participate in the beginning of the regional, the championship at the regional level, simply because the local organizing committee, the LOC, upon making their investigation, the director later called them, according to them, that yes, this particular athlete, I spoke to the principal of the school, and then this principal said X, Y, and Z. They were convinced, and they allowed the athlete to participate. I wasn't around then. But I was in constant touch with the Secretary General and others, the Deputy Secretary General on the ground, and the Vice President. These are the 2 Vice Presidents, Mr. Kebe and so. When the following day, the principal of Newsrat Senior Secondary School came to the ground. And then he was asked about a few questions regarding his communication with the director. And then the man made it very clear. They communicated a few days ago before the starting of the championship. And then we put one-on-one together. And then after the event that day, I invited the 2 schools, Scarnet and that of Newsrat Senior Secondary School. I invited the PE teachers, myself, the Secretary General, and the other officials from school sports. Then I kept on asking them a series of questions regarding the communication, the transfer letter, the acceptance letter, who took the letter to Newsrat. There were a lot of things were fishy in it. It wasn't clear. The procedures used, and then who took the transfer acceptance letter. The girl in question took the acceptance letter from Scarnet, and then who took the acceptance letter to Newsrat was not clear. Yes, it's the sister in one version. Yes, it's the brother in another version. All right? And then whom did they meet at Newsrat when they went there? That also was not clear. And then the director, when he spoke to the principal, when did the director spoke with the principal? That was just recent. And directors later came just recent, before the starting of the championship. All right? And then transfer window has already closed on the 31st of October. So no letter from any authority regarding, writing a transfer in retrospect or, backdating or whatsoever. We are not taking that. All right? I'm not refuting the efforts the director made, no, but it didn't go in line with the procedures that we carve out for students to transfer in a more explicit manner. So this was not fulfilled. Criteria were not fulfilled, and then we asked the girl to withdraw from the championship.
Is it that the regional director did not respond on time?
He did not respond on time, that's it.
And the transfer window was closed.
The transfer window was closed.
Or the fault is from the regional director?
I cannot say that the fault is from the regional
Make your own
director.
analysis.
All right, thank you. Next.
Next question, please. Next question. Yes.
Thank you very much.
The issue of the
Your name?
the issue of the penalties for the schools that are being eliminated this year. So is it for 1 year or are you looking for
This year only.
only?
Only.
So that's the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule. It's only this year. We wanted to make it 2 years or 3, but we could not come to terms among ourselves. All right? So we decided to make it only this year to send a signal, a very strong message to all schools, PE teachers, principals, whosoever is a stakeholder, key stakeholder in the school sport development. The message is for them, so that at least next year all of them will try as much as possible to refrain themselves from such an act.
Is there any window for them to appeal this decision? This kind of
Every decision can be appealed. Every decision can be appealed. But the investigations that were conducted, they were thoroughly done. We have exhausted every bit of investigation, every angle that we're supposed to look at before taking a decision. We traveled to the venues, we interviewed the students, we interviewed the teachers, the administrators, this and that. We look at the results, we print their results, we look at their registers. We look at a lot of things. Even others who claim to have been in the system before the introduction of SIG, we asked them to produce the cash book where the students were paying school fees in those days. They have to produce the cash book so that we find out whether the name of the child is written on those particular documents. So a lot of things, investigations were done. All right? So we will not come here to sit and then just announce schools like that. We have no grudge against any school.
Absolutely.
Where my own school is under the purview, it's under the microscope right now. So any school that is investigation is concluded, you are just going off, even from today. We'll take you out.
my name is Rodney from the starting. Well, I want to know whether these over 100 schools making to the final, was it confirmed before the suspension of the school that are final 1.4 after the suspension?
Yes. These over 100 schools were confirmed before the suspension because we ensure that we tidy our records before the national championship. We send all the qualifiers immediately after the competition. The only one that is holding at the moment is KM for their senior category. All the others, they already knows their qualifiers. So we base it on that one. So now that this development has come, it will prompt the executive, sorry, the secretariat, to go back and recheck all our qualifier, our regional hits, qualifiers list, and then trying to go to the schools that are qualified to come up, and then the schools that have been, sanctioned to be out. So that also will take another period, but it's going to be maybe by tomorrow we are going to be done with everything.
Good.
Sure. When you say everything, doesn't mean the candidate schools, doesn't include investigation into those.
Yeah, it includes everyone.
Yes, it includes everything. So how will we know that? You may not call on a press conference.
No. We'll write to them.
You will write to them. No. How will we know that? No, why do you do this?
The press.
Yes, how will we know
All right, we can communicate to Nani. Our media
First
officer.
way to communicate, our secondary school sports page is now up and running very fast.
And the Facebook page.
The Facebook page. So all information is regarding the championship and the final schools for the sport will be communicated with the latest sports personality. You have a follow-up question?
Yes, Madam Sala, how is it to give you understand in this hour?
The beer.
Sir, I gotta come this way. Are we using this here?
to know. Photo finish.
Photo finish, huh?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Face this direction, so the cameras.
Yeah, my name is Maria Masala, head coach athletics. Well, to answer to your question, the Gambia, we didn't have the standard photo finish equipment around because it's very costly. Right now, we have one in Senegal, but it's not functioning well. So, secondary school sports was in fact ready to hire the service of those people in Senegal for them to be here, but unfortunately, their photo finish is not working. So what we can do now is just to use the camera we have. We have some sophisticated camera that we are using, and it's giving us the good results we want. Another thing is we are taking timings. The timings, they are the most important thing in this competition. All qualifier is not position. You may even have first and you will not be qualified, because the timing tells your qualification. When you have 4 hits, 3 hits, even you can be in hits 1. Almost, when you are in a tougher group, those group, you will see that you will have 4 to 5 qualifiers in that group, because it's tough. But some teachers, they tend to take their athletes to the group that is not tough. So they will take their athletes there, and when they run, they will come and tell you that my athlete took first and he didn't qualify, or second. So that's not how we determine it. You can be in a tougher group, and the tougher group always they have many qualifiers, because their timing is always good. So this is the case. The timing is there, it's helping us, and we also are using cameras. We have some sophisticated cameras that we are using, and mobile phones. So, and we check everything. Yeah, the rest assured for that one is intact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that's a good point. Yeah. You can finish first and not qualify for a certain championship, because it's not about force, it's about your timing. And we all know that, for us that follow athletics, it's all about the timing that matters. So it's very important that athletes run to have the timings perfectly done. Next question, if there is none, we will call this. Because I ignored you because you're not from the press corps.
No.
Yes. Now, if the journalists are not asking, I'll allow you to ask them. But okay, you want to ask? Yes.
Good evening. Yes. How about when it comes to the athletes in the pitch itself? You see different people. Sometimes you didn't understand which is
very important. Very important.
In the finals, right?
The finals. I think there is a difference, a little bit difference between our finals and our regional hits. The regional hit, the executive doesn't have that total control, because we are working with our regional committees. In every region, they have their own committees, and then they ensure that they level the ground for the executive for the smooth running of our competition. But when it comes to the national championship, it's controlled and organized by the executive and the national organizing committee. That's why I said, in the past, those who observe our last final, and even this one coming, you will see a big difference. Only the officials are going to be on the ground. And in fact, this time around, we intend to dress them. They will be identified with the color of the shirt that they are going to wear. And then the athletes are going to be ushered in from the call-over room. And then their names are going to be confirmed. They're even going to undress in the call-over room. There's going to be a basket guard inside there, where all their material will be packed. They'll only come out in fact, our program is timed. There is a time for every event. When the time is up 5 minutes before the time or 3 minutes before the time, based on the distance that they are going to cover, then the announcer will announce that this particular event is about to start. 100 meters. Then you will see the athletes will start coming in. The announcer, if he wishes, he can even mention their name one after the other. They just come in and line up to their starting point. Immediately they finish, they have no cause to stay even more than 2 minutes, and they go back. So the inside will always be clean and clear of intruders or unwanted spectators or unwanted athletes.
And that goes to my fellow colleagues in the press. Sometimes we will all be allowed to go down and of course watch the championship, but we cannot be crisscrossing on the day of the finals. So those are a special place will be dedicated for the press corps at the ending point behind the record keepers, where we can do our interviews and stuff, so that we can avoid crisscrossing the tracks and the fields. Because we want to make it so organized. Even the events have a timing. we will share this to all of you before the championship starts. We have each event have its own timing. Just at least to leave the Colorado room to just come compete and go back. No PE teachers will be allowed on the day of the finals on the ground on the main ball. So just to make it more organized, IOC standard if you wish. Yeah, so reaction for the game.
Thank you. I am William Mike from PPD. Well, I want to ask a question. Maybe who is the concern about the participating schools coming from the government about their transportation to come here? So what is your association doing, like consultation with those schools to make sure that there is less safety from their from the regions that they are traveling from to come here and participate safely? Because I remember 2019 there was this activity here and some schools have participated. I'm coming from my kids. I'm there are students who had an accident along the way and they could have been tragic and if I'm even make the cancellation of the activity. So what are you doing to make sure that
Yeah, thank you so much. Usually, unforeseen circumstances, we don't have much control over those ones. But regarding the transport arrangements, the association is not doing anything. We are not responsible of that for the individual schools because we are sheltering them at the same time, feeding them. So we expect the schools to shoulder that responsibility. The only thing I can add on to that is to advise them to look for a proper vehicle that they are going to arrange with. Because you cannot just go and then take any vehicle, the one that charge you less, you feel that one is safer when actually that one is the worst. All right? So you need to go in for vehicles that are better and are in a good condition, they are roadworthy and they can actually take you to your direction, your destination. So therefore, my advice is let them just be careful when they are. And a good driver, exactly. Them not just. Sometimes they will just depart lately from their destinations. Their arrangements are very late, or sometimes their school authorities will tell them no money, and they will be dragging and dragging and dragging until the 11th hour. They said, okay, we are able to get something, go and arrange for a vehicle. They go and arrange any vehicle and then, get into it and rush to get to their destination, which is not safe. Yeah.
Thank you. And to add to that, no school is coming on the day of the competition.
Yeah.
Or should come a day like Thursday.
Thursday.
So you have the entire day to travel, with a low speed, be in a car, ask your driver to drive slowly, and come have the night rest, then Friday the event start. So you don't want to come rush on a Friday morning, wanting to come here, cross the ferry, you want to. So that is left, to the schools to decide, and I think it's really common sense. Yakuba, you want to add a question before we wrap up?
Last time you told us cash prize for the leader. This year you know.
It's the same. It's the same. There are no sponsors, so it's the same.
100,000 for the senior.
For senior secondary school, yeah, 100,000.
100,000, runner-up 50,000, and then the third place.
The senior upper basic.
Yeah, upper basic 50,000, and then the second place 25,000.
Thank you very much, the press corps, for taking time to come. As I said earlier, this is also a record attendance of the press. So I hope to see you all this coming weekend. Please make good use of your press cards. Perhaps we might not have the time to produce cards for...
Yeah, we'll produce.
Okay, we will have the press
cards.
tags. So all of you that are here, we have the registration. I will give you priority, don't worry. Just contact me or Keba, KB, and for your press tags that will be used for the weekend activity. Thank you so much for coming once again, and see you all over the weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Never forget Basit.
Are we going to have a planning meeting?
Planning meeting. The meeting do executive meeting.
Okay, that's good.
But this time, mal invite.
No, it's okay. That's good.
Left something very important. This year we have great executive prize.
Yay!
No, Nani.
What is your name?
Ismail Sisi.
You are the president.